on Taro and T. Got the Facebook group, and then we have the... There we go. 4 people are in here. Yep, there we go. Awesome. Thank you, Anna. Hi. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Lisa. Hello again, Lisa. Me and Lisa had a chakra realignment session today. Hello. Oh. Give it a second for people to start filtering in. I hope you guys are having an awesome Wednesday. Okay, is it lagging at all? No, it's not. Cool. Awesome. It's not lagging. So, hello, other Anna. Anna and Anna. Anna. I've heard it both ways, so I'm sorry if I butcher your names. I apologize. Hi, Tammy. Happy New Year to you as well. I hope you're doing awesome. Hello, LS Taro. Hi, hi. And today you are going to need both your deck and your notebook and your pen that you started yesterday for your Taro journal, because we're going over 2 topics actually. It's not just creating simple Taro spreads. We're going to go over how to intuitively ask questions too. Yeah, and that's a fun one for me. And it will be fun teaching you guys. Okay. Awesome. So, one way I like to think of it when it comes to Taro spreads, excuse me, is it's a whole lot easier in real life if you're having a conversation with 2 or 3 people at the same time than 11. And a lot of the times, especially as I go through the free groups, or I've helped students in the past, they just picked up Taro, just interviewed their deck, and then they do a Celtic Cross for their first spread, and it's like, whoa, you are overwhelming yourself. Don't do that. If you've been doing this for a little bit longer and you know your own system, then it's okay. But if you're brand new, it's really hard to immediately pick up a Celtic Cross and automatically understand it, or a horseshoe, or whatever giant spread you do. It's a challenge of mine. I have the Reduce Wheel spread written down, and it literally takes up the entire freaking deck. It's huge, and it would easily take me a week to frickin' interpret. It's something that would cost $500, like, off the bat. That's minimum, because it's a gigantic spread, and it obviously takes a little bit of time to get to that level. But it's so much easier with 2 or 3 cards, or 2 or 3 people in a conversation, to be engaged and to understand everything, because then you don't have 2 cards on the side having a sub-conversation between each other, and you walk away knowing each card a little bit more than you would if it was a bunch of cards. It's like your attention gets spread out a little bit more, you know? And it says, ouch, been there, done that as a beginner, now it's a 5-card spread mostly. Yeah, hello, Joanna. Yeah, I immediately pulled out the Celtic Cross, which I later realized is good for really specific questions, but it's not good for every single situation. And as I started learning to read more, I began to not use pre-made spreads. I started to intuitively make them. And a little bit of a conversation, again, with being able to get to know each card a little bit better. So, for example, I have a minor in American Sign Language, and when it comes to ASL, when I first started, the beginner class, which was taught by a hard of hearing woman, she had her hearing aid, she had her 2 hearing dogs with her. They were Lassie dogs. I can never remember the name of the breed. But they would just walk around the classroom, and there were easily 30 people crammed into this tiny little room. And we all had desks in rows facing one direction with a tiny little aisle down the middle. And for a normal classroom for learning English and math, that's a good setup, because all your attention is being directed to one card or one person. Same thing with Taro. If you have all your cards facing one direction and that's how you want it, it's a good setup. For ASL, especially if you're learning sign language, it's not really good. It's not really good for any language class. especially that one, because you need to be looking in the other person's eyes. You need to be talking directly to them, and they need to see your hands. So it made it really difficult. But as you moved up and you went through and got your classes for the minor, and the classes became more advanced, the classes got smaller, until finally she decided to put everybody in a circle so we could actually talk to each other. And it got so good to the point where we would even go to breakfast for class. Like, we'd leave the classroom and go meet somewhere for breakfast and sit there and eat and talk with our hands. And that was the rule. You could only, like, no talking after a certain point. You could only use your hands. And it was so much easier to get to know everybody else in the class because we were smaller. If there's a million people in class going, "Hi, are you?" It's so much harder to understand what the hell everybody's talking about when everybody's going with the fingers. So, and some people have gloves and all this kind of stuff. So, same thing with Taro. The smaller the group and the more better fit the spread is and the layout, the so much easier it is for you to understand it. Everybody with me? And it says, well, much of the blame goes for the LWB that always print the Celtic Cross as a sample spread. That's true. Collies. That's right. Thank you, Catherine. It's Collies. Hi, Chantal. Yeah, and a lot of people do that as their go-to, and as a go-to spread just because that's the most popular. Same thing with the horseshoe, the 7 card. But what's also popular is a 3 card past, present, future. And to me, that can tell so much more about a deck, so much more about a situation than a Celtic Cross, because you're not getting a bunch of information thrown at you. You're getting a little bit of information first, you know? So, like I said, with smaller spreads, it's more intimate, it's easier to process the information, and it's less draining on your intuition, because especially, as I mentioned yesterday, I first got started doing anonymous readings on Tumblr, and literally I would just say, I'm taking readings, send me your message, and people would send it to me anonymously, no name, no birthday, just tell me the situation. A small spread worked so much better than a large one, especially because Tumblr only let you take one picture and only gave a certain amount of characters for talking about it. So I was able to give more in-depth readings when I was ready to give people readings with a smaller spread than it was doing a giant one. Okay, whereas now I'll do the larger spreads and I take individual pictures of the cards and I give you detailed information for all of it. But that's just to the point I'm at now. So part of your homework today is to create a 3 card spread. And no past, present, future, none of the popular ones. But there's a little bit more to it than that. So when you're brand new to Taro, it's important to learn how to phrase your questions correctly. Okay? So if you're used to seeing or automatically thinking in your head, should I do this? What'll happen if I do this? When will this happen? Because when you first get started with Taro, especially nowadays, a lot of people automatically think that it's all-knowing. The problem, though, is your cards don't know the answer to everything that sometimes may not have happened yet. And your life is not linear, it's all over the place, and things can definitely change. So when you phrase questions in very, very specific ways, you can really close yourself off to the possibilities, you know? So for example, if you have someone saying, when will Bobby ask me to the prom? And you get a no. They automatically are going to get mad thinking nothing's ever going to happen with them. But what about if John wanted to ask you? Or Susie? And a girl asked you instead? Or what if they never do, but you end up being together, but because they don't ask you to prom, the idea of you ever being together is out of your head? Like, you can't be ridiculously specific because you're closing yourself off to other possibilities. And Taro will answer that specific question, but if there's other possibilities out there, it won't tell you unless you ask. It's really weird. And especially if you're coming from other modalities like pendulums. Pendulums are the complete opposite. The more specific you are, the better. So it really helps to figure out how to word it. Should I questions are never good. Never ask should I, because the tarot is going to be like, well, I don't know. Because free will, that's your decision. Same thing with when will I do this? I don't know when you're going to do it. That's your choice. So if you personally are going to make the decision to do something, that's not the best question to ask. Instead, how about, how can I influence the possibilities of da 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 da? Or what steps can I take to make sure someone asks me to prom? Or what will be the result if I choose to do this? Okay? Or if something happens and you don't like it, you say, why was this the outcome of insert blank? You know? Ask intriguing questions. Be a little bit out of the box with it. This goes a little bit with critical thinking, okay? So it's always never a specific answer. It's always, how can we influence this a little more? Be the mediator of it. And the tarot, your cards, will be so much more happy with you if you phrase it like that. That's how cards get really angry with the hotlines very quickly. If you work on the hotlines. Because people do nothing but that should I, will I, when will I, if this were happen, da da da. They want the specifics. But if you think the only option out there for you is that you'll meet your soulmate carrying a red balloon, walking down the street, and you flip a coin and you say heads, that's ridiculously specific, and the probability of that happening is slim. Open yourself up a little bit more, and it'll be so much easier for you. Does that make sense? Hello, Chantal. Hello, Adam. LS says, true, totally agree with that. Small spread, super effective. Anna says, that's what you have to remember, the spread is done from where you're at that particular moment. Yep. If you decide to stay home instead of going to work or school, after things may change, because one option alternative will not happen. It's not set in stone. Exactly. I remember getting a nasty review from somebody because he had asked me, when am I going to meet somebody that's introverted like me? Okay. And I asked him, okay, when was the last time you went out to actually meet somebody? Because the cards were coming up that it was going to be never. And he said, never. I never leave my house. Okay, do you do online dating? No, I don't talk to them. I don't think there's a point. Well, you're personally closing off the possibilities for yourself. If you want to be literally a hermit in your house, the cards are going to tell you when something's going to happen because you're not making it happen. Part of tarot working in the first place is you need to go out and do it yourself too. And that's one other thing that some beginning readers get tripped up on. It'll say the Tower is your card for the day, but if you don't do anything to change that, or if you think that's your only option and decide to stay in your house all day, that's not really the best way to approach it. Same thing if it says something amazing is going to happen to you today, but you decide to stay home anyway. No, there's no opportunity. Once you walk out the door, then there's more opportunity for good things to happen, you know? Joanna says, so you're saying I should carry a blue balloon instead to meet my soulmate? Maybe. Maybe. Or why not carry a bundle of balloons, you know? Just give him some options. He might like green or some other color. Awesome. Catherine says, 3-card spread, neat. Yes, I see things all over my life, my family all over. It's crazy. Yeah, and especially as new things influence your life, the outcomes will change differently. Anna says, one important thing to keep in mind is don't ask the question, you are not ready to take the answer. That's very true. You can ask 1,000,001 questions, but if you're not ready to hear the answer, it can make the interpretation biased. This is why some people say readers should never read for themselves, because you'll get a biased answer and you'll read the cards how you want to. Okay? I disagree with that, because you're not going to learn otherwise. Okay? I find it's so much easier if you sit for a second and breathe and intuitively think of the question. Okay, so this is what I mean by that. So instead of, let's say, your girlfriend stole some money from your wallet and she took off, okay? And you're wondering, when did she need the money? Why didn't she say anything? You're thinking of a million questions. But the main category of it is just you're hurt. And you feel like these shady people keep happening in your life. They keep showing up and you don't understand why. So instead of, when is she going to come back? How can I make her come back? Because that's another question that Tarot hates. How can I make something happen? Like, you need to be a little more gentle with it. You can't force anybody against their will to do something. So instead, if your overall thing is hurt, it's like, why do these people keep being attracted to me? Tarot can answer that. They can tell you that you are incredibly stable, you know what you want, they're lacking in that stability, so they're drawn to you. Okay, makes sense. Okay, if someone is a really good person, really nurturing, and they take care of other people, people who need to be nurtured in some way, whether they're good for you or not, are going to be attracted to you. So that's a really good answer. And you're like, okay, I understand more. Even though I'm still upset about the general situation, the answer I needed to hear for the question that I needed to ask was given to me. Now, as we discover, you're gonna trip over this. Like, if you're brand new, you're gonna ask some stupid questions to your cards. And even when you're an advanced reader, and you've been doing this for years, you're still gonna ask some stupid questions to your cards. Like, I think it was last month, you guys that have been here for that long, I posted in the group me asking a really stupid question to my cards. I asked about pregnancy. And pregnancy is never a good subject to ask your cards. That's something more for a pendulum because it is so specific. And even then, before I have asked that question to my pendulum, and I had to be so freaking specific, like, is there a zygote embedded in my uterine wall at this exact second? And then it was like, no. Every other time it was maybe. So there are some things that you are going to fuck up on, and you're going to ask the wrong questions. And that's totally okay. It's a part of the learning process. But if you start learning how to rephrase the question now, it makes it so much better for you. Okay? So, let's see. Oh, Anna cut off what you said. Let's see. Here we go. And it says, God, that reminds me of those who ask when they'll find someone new and it all ends up, will my ex come back to me? Will it be me and my ex again? They didn't want to hear the possible new person. They wanted the ex no matter what. Yeah. Yeah, there are some people like that, but that's why, especially when you start reading for other people, whether it's in person or online, clarifying questions are always fantastic to ask. They'll help you find those intuitive questions. So if someone just says, oh, I have a question about love, okay? I may be psychic, but I'm not a mind reader. That's not my ability. So ask, okay, do you have a specific person in mind? Works perfectly. And then they'll tell you yes or no. And then you're like, yay, yes, okay, I know to add some extra cards to the spread that I want to do. Okay, and then you can pull 1 or 2 cards to get what is the energy for this person for love right now. Okay, it doesn't look too good. I got a 10 of Swords. What happened? Ask the clarifying questions. There's nothing wrong with asking yourself more questions or asking the other person more questions if you need the help. Okay, because not all of us are going to know it immediately. Sometimes we need a little help. And that's because we're human. We have a million other things on our mind. It's going to make it easier if the other person helps you out or if you help yourself out. Yeah? Nothing wrong with asking questions. Yeah, so part of the workbook today has some sample questions that you can reword. Okay? And figure out how you can make them a little bit better for yourself. And then I want you to sit down, think about a problem that you've been dealing with for a bit and put it into a 3-card spread for yourself. If you want to make it more fun for you, you can theme it around an animal. Like I've seen unicorn spreads. You can frame it around the moon. I post new moon and full moon spreads every month for you guys. But it needs to be based around a situation that you're having a hard time with right now. And figure out the right questions to ask yourself. And go ahead and share it. Especially because this is a really tight-knit group. Or at least the goal is to make it really tight-knit. The spreads that we create, I bet there's somebody else that can benefit from that exact same spread. Yeah. And creating your own spreads, that really helps you develop into your own mind as a reader what is important for me personally to know, you know? And then you can get into the symbolism and the meanings and the directions they're looking and all of that. You can get into that afterwards. But first off, you need to start learning how to ask yourself the right questions and making a simple spread off of that. That make sense? I also love your new moon and full moon spreads. They're so helpful. I'm glad you love them. They're super fun. And I made those intuitively, based off of what I know for the moon cycle and what questions that I always see around the new moon and full moon. So, do you guys have any questions or worries about creating a spread or asking yourself the right questions? I'll give you guys a second to go ahead and answer. Have some green tea today. And again, this isn't a time to hate on yourself or to get mad at how your brain works. This is a time for you to sit down and figure out, okay, these are the questions that are important to me. Okay, and if you have to go through or you have a block and you can't think of a question to ask yourself, do a spread on that. It's like, why can't I think of anything right now? What could possibly be in my way of thinking? How can I get around this block? Boom, 3-card spread. Pull the cards. Boom, done. Super easy. Or let's think of another one. I've been feeling funky energy since the supermoon. Okay, so why did the supermoon affect me this way? How has my energy changed? How can I adjust to this? Done. And it takes care of a problem that I've been dealing with. Super easy. Catherine says, I like the ideas of symbols for a notebook. Oh, what we talked about yesterday? Yeah, with this, you could easily, that's why I was saying you could base this off of something. So for example, let me pull up some spreads I've made so you guys get an example. And I don't think any of these are 3-card spreads, but that way you can see what I do. Let's see. Okay, so I made a spread. I used to have 6 or 7 different spreads, all for my career questions. And then I realized it would be so much easier if I just condensed it down and it wasn't like an 18-card spread. Instead, it's like 12. So, if it turns, ha 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 ha. Yeah, so I have some spreads here. Okay, and this is my career one. And as you can see, it's a little bit bigger than 3. But if you look at my love spreads over here on the side, it's 3 cards for each person. Okay? And then the interview deck that you guys did on the bottom. So those are some examples of spreads that I've made. But you can, again, have fun with this. It'll be so much easier if you guys have fun. And put them in your journal. And you can do after today's thing, you can do a spread for anything. I have a spread for how to best make sigils. In the Bath Magic live stream that I shared to you guys, that I did in a different group, I have a spread in there on how to make the best Bath Magic spell. There's all kinds of stuff. So really open yourself up to it. Okay? Well, since there's no questions, I will go ahead and let you guys go. And this will go ahead and get uploaded to YouTube. By the way, day 1 has been fully uploaded to YouTube. So I will go ahead and share that new link with you guys, so you won't just get shared to the Facebook post. You'll get shared to the YouTube channel. So you get the replay. And if you've just joined into the channel, into the challenge, and you're just now getting day 1 stuff, it'll be the YouTube link. I've already fixed it. So all the new people, well, all the older people that have been going along for the past couple days, that's what you're gonna get. And keep in mind, all of this is stuff from my course, okay? My Start Reading Tarot Intuitively course. We go a little bit more in depth, but I help you interview your deck. I help you go ahead and make a tarot journal. Plus those inserts. If you go back through yesterday's workbook, there's a button that says get some inserts. Those are the inserts that are a part of the course too, and that you get for being on the mailing list for this group. And then today, for creating spreads, you get an article and all kinds of fun stuff that you can do with it. Tomorrow you'll get some more extra goodies from the course. All this week you will. So you guys are getting some exclusive content here. So I hope you really enjoy it, and I hope you really use it to help you expand your practice, okay? Oh, Chantel wants the address for the YouTube channel. Yep, I can grab that real quick. I'm going to be adding more videos to the channel. I uploaded one today really quick about what the hell tarot is, and it gives a teensy bit of history about where it came from. But I'm going to be making lots and lots of videos. Oh, also, I am also, just as a place to give updates, I am working on a new website for everybody here, because before, if you went to my original website, which was modronlotusgarden.weebly.com, it had everything condensed into one thing, both tarot reading and teaching you how to read tarot. I've separated it now. So the new website will be for the course, and it'll be for all the stuff teaching you about magic and tarot. So my deity worship series will be on there. My 30 Days of Witchcraft will be on there, and I'll continue that at some point. I did a lot of stuff, guys. So let me get this link. Yeah, updates. Why not? Let you guys know what I'm doing in the background. There we go. And let me actually pin... Oh, I didn't actually post it. Let me also give you guys the link for today's workbook. And remember, you'll also get this sent if you're a part of the challenge mailing list. Scroll down. Pin. Super welcome! I'm happy to help you guys. Yeah, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. The only extra thing right now on the YouTube channel that I have is that video that I talked about. All the live streams I've done in this group, they're all up here. And then I have some Shufflemancy playlists that we're going to get into with a workshop later on this year. So that's fun. You guys have a little surprise to look forward to. So I will see you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed today. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you in the group. Bye.